North Wright County Today is brought to you in part by Solutions Counseling. Hey, did you know, and you probably do because you're listening to this show and you're smart, that Solutions Counseling has served 1 in 3 members of the St. Michael-Albertville community? That's like more than 10,000 men, women, and kids getting help with solutions for their mental health needs, and that's awesome because mental health should be just like physical health. Get those mental checkups and check-ins. Solutions has 24 professionals to choose from to help you, including individual therapists that can help you with your depression, your anxiety, trauma, marital issues, couples and family counseling, play therapists for kids, and even hypnotherapy. Located right on Main Avenue in St. Michael, Solutions can also offer virtual appointments if that's your jam. Learn more about Craig Renz and his awesome team at getcounseling.org, where you can meet some of the team, take a virtual tour, or set up an initial appointment today to find what's right for you. That's Solutions Counseling, an OG sponsor of North Wright County Today and North Wright County Today, the podcast, online at getcounseling.org. Nick, you got yours close? That was the one complaint I got was Nick's got to get
closer. I'm better.
He's got to act like he's at a varsity soccer.
Like you're participating.
We had a parental ejection on Sunday.
Not
on our team, but on the other team. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was disagreement with the referee's non-call.
Youth soccer, guys. Youth soccer. All right. Nobody's going to the World Cup from those groups.
It made it more entertaining than the Super Bowl, though.
All right, welcome back. Wow, episode 2. You guys showed up, which is a good sign.
Yeah, thanks for having us back.
I didn't drive you away yet. So episode 2 of the North Wright County Today podcast. I'm your host, Mike Schomer, founder and editor of North Wright County Today, which, if you didn't know, has been covering news in this little area for about 10 years. I am joined way down there by Nick Schultz from Deerwood Bank, and in the middle is our hostess with the mostest, Sam Pfeiffer. So, yeah, how was your weekend? How was your week? How's your week started? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah, real good.
Yeah.
It was a little cold this weekend.
It's cold.
I mean, this whole month has just been... last week we blew in here. I mean, the wind chill had to be like 20 below. It was windier than heck. The weekend was cold. The weekend we finally got some measurable snow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kids were excited about that. The snowmobilers were excited about it. The guys were out on the snowmobiles, and I was like, oh, boy, I don't know about that. And then you see the trails, and there's like powder and about 6 inches of dirt.
Yep.
Like they're just carving through there. So it's like, they're excited to get them out, but it's probably not quite enough. Maybe after Friday night, we're supposed to get a little Valentine's Day snow. Maybe after that.
Or didn't you say 1 to 78?
Yeah.
Most accurate forecast we've ever had.
I think that meme has become very well known, and I mean, the way winter storms have gone around here the past 2 or 3 years, you can throw out, even last Saturday it was like we went into the weekend going like 6 to 12 inches, and then it was like, nah, it's probably going to be more like 3 to 5, and then we woke up Saturday and we're like, no, it's going to be more like 6 to 7. It's like, it's looking pretty deep out there.
In our household, we talk about how you can be a weather forecaster, be wrong 100% of the time, and still keep your job.
Right, yeah.
I did get to play with my new snowblower, though.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I bought a new one, so I didn't think we'd get any snow, but here we are. Got to clear my driveway.
Yeah.
We have a little electric guy, and if it's the heavy stuff like we got a lot 2 years ago, the winter where we got all the snow, it's practically useless. But the stuff we got Saturday was perfect. It was just powder, and it just, Lisa's like, can't you just shovel that? And I'm like, no. You want to see it coming out of the chute, flying across. She's like, you're such a guy sometimes. All right, so anyway, we should get to business here. Our guest today is very, very busy because it is Dr. Anne-Marie Foucault, who is superintendent of STMA schools. And if you haven't heard, we are in the middle of the school year. It is very busy around here. We've got things going on at the state legislature. We've got things going on with the federal government. So she's a little bit busy. But we're super excited that she decided to give us, about 10, 15, 20 minutes of her day, maybe longer if we can twist her arm, and talk about our district, talk about successes here, some of the defeats we've seen the last couple of years, what we need, what she needs from us as a community, what we do well, what maybe we could do more for our schools, and I think that's basically one of the important conversations we can have here because we're local and that's where it starts, right? I mean, everything else is noise and maybes and what ifs, whereas what we can do here is what really matters. So super excited to have her join us. Before we do that, I'll let Nick and Anne-Marie switch and I'll get into our first sponsor of the day.
Cool.
Sounds good.
So we're going to need to move the teleprompter. All right, Stella's Health is our opening sponsor today. Thank you, Stella's Health, with locations in Buffalo and Monticello. Stella's Health has you covered.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Doctors that care about you, live in your communities, from urgent care to skin care, they offer it all, and that's why they're a great partner to us here at North Wright County today. Don't feel like it's urgent? They got you covered there too.
Okay.
But Stella's Health, not North Wright County today, but Stella's Health takes same day appointments. So we're super excited about that, and they'll cover you from top to bottom, which is great. So used to have the location here in Albertville. They have since condensed, but a lot of patients have followed them. The doctors are local, people we know, people who live and work in our communities, which is super cool. Also, their partnership with local hospitals, Buffalo Hospital, Monticello Hospital, super convenient. They're located right next door and can refer you there if you need. So Stella's Health, make sure to check out their ads on the North Wright County Today website. You can pop through and see their blogs and informational articles. You can make appointments, get information, even talk to a nurse. So stellashealth.com. All right. St. Michael-Albertville School District is home to what, about 7,000 now? A little over 7,000?
Just about 6,700.
Yeah. Of the finest kids you'll ever meet. And
They're great kids.
We can
Yeah.
say that because pretty much all of us in here has had either
interactions.
kids go through the system or in the system.
Mm-hmm.
I currently have a senior, so he's preparing to depart the system, which is crazy because my first interaction with Anne-Marie was talking about whether or not Cam was ready for kindergarten. So
I remember he walked across the street every morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you used to live right down the road there. So welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's
I
great to be
appreciate
here.
it. Yeah, it's cool to hang with people from the school community. Obviously, my other hat is that I'm communications specialist for Elk River School District. So we are neighbors and work together often and often bounce ideas off each other's and whether or not to close schools, those conversations all happen together. So how are things in St. Michael-Albertville School District? How are we doing?
Things are going well. We're done with the pandemic, well, we hope anyways. We still have our sickness, the flu or the quademic, I think they're calling it now, but, we still have our share of that, but things are going really well. We bounced back, we did a lot of cuts last couple of years, had a couple failed levies, but things are going well for us. Yeah, our kids are good.
Good. One of the big talkers lately is because some of the things that have come out is achievement. Obviously, student achievement suffered in the wake of the pandemic. Kids learning at home, obviously, we found out isn't quite as effective as having them in the building, doing the work in the school building. For some kids, works awesome, right? Especially that online school option for some kids is super great. So I don't want to cover everybody with a broad brush there, but I think what we've seen with, MCA scores, ACT scores, any of the other standardized testing scores that are out there is that, things did dip. But St. Michael, I mean, you guys just have this standard of excellence, I think, of Fieldstone and Big Woods and the stuff that they do at 3rd and 5th grade and the test scores that they show, and all the way up through middle school and early high school. It's hard to look at a junior and say, well, here's your standardized test score. And the junior is like, yeah, but I've got ACT scores, I've got AP classes, I've got this. Like, this is not on my priority list. This is a little bit lower.
Yes.
But
Right.
I think when you look at those important grades, those developing grades, St. Michael-Albertville does really well.
Yeah, we do. And that can be attributed to our students are fantastic, our parents, our community, and especially our staff members. We've jammed more and more kids in our classrooms, but we still rank the top with the MCAs. So top 7%, top 5%, top 4%, science, reading, and math. And I think we'd be higher than that, but what hurts us a little bit is there's that opt-out. We totally respect parents, they can opt their students out. But at the high school, you were just saying, Mike, there's a lot of competing factors, and when a couple students don't show up for the test, it's counted as a 0. And again, we totally respect parents' rights, but that's what's bringing it down a little bit. But still, we do extremely well with standardized testing.
I agree. I've always chosen to opt out my kids. I'm one of those parents only because the way they test. They get nervous and anxious and anxiety, and it's something that I didn't want to put on them. So I choose not to do that test. But they excel at school.
Right.
Because the teachers here, what I've noticed, they care. They genuinely care. My daughter made it to school last week for an incident, and I got a phone call from the teacher saying, hey, I was sick. I noticed your daughter. Is she okay? How is she? Like, you don't get that everywhere.
Yeah, you don't. And I taught 6 years, 3 years in Michael-Albertville, 3 years in Osceola before coming out here. This is my 25th year at STMA. And every teacher that comes out from different states, different school districts, they always say, Anne-Marie, people don't understand what a good thing we have going out here.
Right.
Others will say there's something in the water, and I'm like, there's really not. But we have the most dedicated, passionate teachers and staff.
Right.
I never just say teachers. We have from our paras, food service, custodians, we're a team. So when you see emails come out from me, it'll always say our team, because it takes all of us doing our part. And these people show up, and they often put their needs aside and their kids aside, or their own family's needs aside, to show up for our kids. And it shows.
I fully agree.
So one of the things I talked about in the lead-in in introducing you is this is a special place for schools. What can the community do to support those schools? What's the best way? People want to get involved. Some things have changed because we went through the pandemic, and some of that involvement and some of those opportunities don't look like they used to. But if you want to be involved now, what's the best way to do that?
Well, we have on our website, we really did a push. We had 2 failed levies, 21 and 22. And when asking people, they said, we want to support a couple of things. They said, we want to support the schools. We can't. It's just too expensive with the tax burden. We don't have we're property poor, which means we don't have a lot of commercial and industrial development to absorb that tax burden. But they also said, we don't know what's going on in your schools. We don't have kids in the schools anymore. We used to, or, they never have. They're senior citizens. And so we really shored up what we have for engagement opportunities. And so we called it, I think, engagement opportunities on our website. So there's 19 different teams. I usually don't use the word committee because I hate, committee sounds boring. Who wants to serve on a committee? Some are long-standing, so we kept it. But for most part, they're teams, action teams. And there's 19 different ways. So from finances to facilities to each building has a parent advisory, community education. I have a superintendent engagement advisory, and I invited a lot of our naysayers and said, come on in, tell me what we can do better. Right. And there's a quote by Maya Angelou that ends with, when you know better, do better. And I say that all the time in newsletters, when I'm talking to staff, when I'm talking to families, when I'm talking to kids. When you know better, do better. And we want to do better, and we want to involve our community in the decision making, because I'm a true believer that
the more heads you have at the table and the more ideas, the better we're going to be. And so we want to get people in to help us because we need help. So that would be the biggest thing, I think, is to join one of those committees, legislative action team. That's another one. All of these things, Nick serves on our finance advisory, and it's just helpful to have those different lenses because we're not bankers, you know, we know finance, but not like other people have. So really helps us. So definitely there's an interest indicator on the website. All you have to do is sign up.
Cool.
Walk me through those levies. You know, those were obviously an ask from the district. The community said no. What were those for, and could we see something like that down the line again?
Did you say levy, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had one 21 and 22. It stemmed from our district being one of the lowest funded districts in the state. We're ranked this year 323 out of 328 in public school districts in the state of Minnesota. And it's really because of our demographics, our zip code. Our kids don't qualify for a lot of there's buckets of money that the state has. Everybody gets the basic one, over 7,000 pupil this year, and then they get buckets of other money. So it might be that we have transportation sparsity, so that buses have to travel large distances or small schools, or our population of students, like demographics. We don't qualify. So that makes our revenue very low. So we were fine for a number of years because we were growing, because enrollment drives the funding formula. So the more kids we have, most of the money from the state, and the state gives us 86.7% of our fund, our general fund, is from enrollment, from state funding. And so we were fine when we were growing because we're getting extra kids in. But the enrollment stopped, and right now it's stable. When you drive around our community, people always say to me, well, come on, you got to be lying, or there's houses, there's apartments going up all over the place. But what happens is our high school classes, like our junior class is our largest one, it's 603. And our high school, they're usually about high 500s. Kindergarten is 431. So we have to grow, we have to get from 431 to over 600 just to be even. We had a demographic study done too in 2016 when I first started. I'm a science teacher. And so we had a demographic study done. And they talked to the city of St. Michael, city of Albertville, city of Otsego, the district. And they said we would grow so much every year. And in 5 years when that study was done or completed, not completed, but it ended, we'd grow, and they were off by 8 kids. So 5 years ago, we did the same one. And right now they're saying we were only going to grow between 0.2% and 1%. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. So all these houses that are going up, we love that because it brings extra kids into our district, which we love the kids, but we also love the money that they bring in with them because we can offer more opportunities to our kids. I mean, it's not like we're getting paid more. But, you know, it's those types of, that's why we are slowing down. And so we went out to the taxpayers and asked them. And we knew it was a big ask. The first time we went out, we had a levy committee, finance advisory committee. We had all these teams looking at it. And they said to ask for what we needed. So we weren't going to be putting like world languages or any extras just to get us by because of the state funding. And it failed miserably. So we went out again. We did some research, asked a bunch of people, you know, what do you guys think? We went out again for about 2/3 of the amount that we asked the first time, failed again. And so now we're pausing, and we thought we would build trust with the community. So that's when we revamped those 19 different engagement opportunities for families, because we thought if we can get not only families, but the community in to see the great things that we're doing. You know, these are our kids, and when you see 40 kids in a class, or when we did all those cuts, 77 staff we cut, there were 50 kids in a classroom. I remember going into a couple 4th grade classes and instant tears in my eyes, and then having to run out and check my notes from the pandemic, because during the pandemic, the fire marshal said, you know, you can have, for a certain size classroom, you can have to have 6 feet between the desks. How many could we fit in a classroom? We had so many, I had to dig through my notes, and I had to remove desks. So we had kids sitting on the floor in some of our elementary classes because we had so many kids shoved in there that we couldn't fit, because I didn't want the fire marshal to fine us. And so we're okay. The state 2023 legislature gave us a little bit of money. I'll tell you, it was not the historic or unprecedented headlines that we saw across the state. You know, a lot of that money was like universal meals, which great. We love to feed our kids. But in our district, even before those dollars, we always made sure our kids ate. We didn't give peanut butter sandwiches. We gave a full meal, and we never shamed kids. It was very discreet because a kid can't learn if they're hungry. So we always gave those things, and we partnered with FYCC. We had breakfast bars before that. But again, another great thing, but we didn't get a lot of that money. We were able to hire a handful of teachers back, and we dug out a little bit from those large cuts that we made. Now, I just got done testifying in front of the Senate, I think 2 weeks ago, and I looked at 4 mandates, just 4 of the dozens of mandates that we have, and we agree with the 4 mandates. We agree, like the paid leave, the burn sick and save time. Our staff work hard, and they deserve paid time off. The READ Act, the best piece of legislation as a former curriculum director for the district for 15 years, undeniably great for kids. The other one was unemployment insurance for like our support staff in the summer. And great, they deserve to get paid. We agree with them all, but just those 4 mandates, $1.5 million a year, which is 19 teachers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Devastating for a district that has no money. So I really thought we had our finance team, we really watch every penny. Our auditors came back in December to our board and said we had the highest rating possible. And we had been saving money, so I thought we'd be able to hire a few teachers because we still have, 32 to 34 at our middle school, 35 at some of our core classes at the high school. Elementary is better, but we still are over 30 at some of our 3rd and 4th grade classrooms, so not good. So I thought we'd be able to hire, and so I was like, yes. And then when we started looking at a revised budget for this school year and those mandates, we should be cutting this year, which last Friday in my office, I wanted to cry. So we're not going to cut this year. We'll be okay. Next year at this time, we will be making some massive cuts. We will have to cut $1.5 million next spring for fiscal 27, and then every year thereafter, between $2 and $2.1 million for the next 3 years past the $1.5 million cuts.
Yeah, with the caveat that that's if things don't change from the way they are.
Yes. So,
and you're not alone. I mean, I can attest to Elk River School District, obviously looking at very much the same situation with some of the funding that's changed. Districts around the state are seeing huge shortfalls, especially those that receive more in ESSER and federal funding. It's going to be a bumpy road. It's going to be a bumpy next 2 years.
How can we get fair funding? Like, you come to us, taxpayers as a community, and then they're like, no, I'm already tax poor, I can't do. So how can we go to those who make those funding decisions and be like, this isn't fair?
Right.
Why does Minneapolis get an extra, I'm just throwing this number out, don't come at me. Why does Minneapolis get an extra $1,500 a student and we don't? Like, how can that be addressed?
Well, with legislation, I mean, that's the thing, and that's why I go down, I've testified twice this year already, and we have our strong legislative action team, which is made of parents. We have a couple students on there. That's the only way we're going to change it, because I agree, like a levy for us, and the board is going to our school board is going to have to look at it. We've already mentioned the word and you can only have them in November, but nothing has changed. Like, inflation is still high. People are still struggling at the price of eggs. All these things, nothing has really changed. And so we're advocating with legislators not only for more funding, because the funding formula is outdated. It's archaic. It needs to change, but it's complicated. And I'm the first one to say that, like Minneapolis, some of the metro districts, they do deserve more money. They have some different challenges.
Right.
We just would like some money.
Right.
We've got districts, it's funny, a lot of people don't know that there's 30% of the districts don't have an operating levy. We're one of them, of course. Right. But we have districts in the metro that are advocating to lift the cap which is quite high. It's like 2,500, 2,700 a pupil, per pupil. So times that by 7,000 kids.
We'd be fine.
And they want to lift it so their taxpayers can pay more in a levy.
Yeah.
We have zero. And they tease me all the time saying, how do you guys make it? And I said, going back to Mike's first question, our staff.
Yeah.
Our staff and our parents, they're generous, our PTOs, our community.
Yeah.
But it's not enough because we're at this tipping point, and the problem is that we cut so much from those 77. I was very purposeful, and our board was, we cut across all job classifications, so custodians, food service, paras, admin, district office. We, in 2023, remember I said we had those few teachers we were able to put back in the classroom or hire back. Right now, we didn't replenish the district office that we had or all those admin. There's only people that we can cut when we do cuts next year are teachers. And again, we're looking at 19 next year. It's hard.
Yeah, it's not something anybody wants to do at all. It's definitely your back's against the wall, and it's also the caveat. Another caveat to that is what is going to happen at the federal level now. As you've said, a lot of our revenue around here is local. It's state. You don't have a local operating levy, but obviously 88% is your enrollment. When you hear about the Department of Education and the possible ability of that being wound down, and obviously that has support in this area because this is a conservative area that backed Trump to the tune of something like 75-80%. When you hear about that possibly happening, what are you planning for as a superintendent when you look ahead for, okay, that funding might be kicked to the states with, some criteria that you would have to follow?
Right, so we're watching the federal funding. Again, we don't qualify because a lot of that funding is based on poverty. And so we don't qualify like the title funds, states across or counties, schools across the state, they really depend on that, and we would lose. But it's a small portion. It would hurt. We'd have millions of dollars, especially in special education funding. The state, when IDEA first came up, they said they would fund 40%, and they're not even close. It's 12, 13, 14%.
Right. That's one of those unfunded mandates that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would lose that. Some of the title funding, we would lose some nutrition, like food service, but it would affect us. So we're watching it, but we have not. We've moved forward with a revised budget for this year, assuming we're gonna get the same.
Yeah.
But it's scary.
Yeah.
It is. It's you say already your back's against the wall, and then to hear that this big change might be coming down the road, that just puts you in a more precarious position.
Right. And it's scary because I'm supposed to be, we're merchants of hopes.
Right.
We've been talking about that with our principals and our teachers, and I write a family newsletter, a staff newsletter every month, and I'm always trying to pump them up because, morale was really low when we cut all those people. And so we've done a great job of bouncing back, and our staff are resilient, our kids are resilient, our families are resilient, but, I'm trying to be a merchant of hope. And I keep hearing these things, from the state and the federal government, and it makes it hard.
Yeah.
And it's confusing to staff because they hear, on one side I'm saying, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, we're going to be cutting, and the next minute I'm saying, there's
Rainbows
hope,
and
there's
unicorns.
hope, hang on there. Yeah.
Well, to look a little more optimistic, this is a fun time of the year. This is kind of when we feel we're in the last, if it's to go back to the Super Bowl from last weekend, if it's a 75-yard drive to the end zone, we're probably on the last 25 yards before we punch it across the goal line. You've got things like spring performances and activities and prom and graduation coming up. What is the end of the year like for you? How much fun is it to get to that graduation day and see those kids?
It's a lot of fun. I'm in the buildings most of the day, and going into the buildings, and as you said, I was the kindergarten principal for 9 years, and so I know the kids, and so especially at the high school, they're giving me high fives in the hall, and just seeing them at sporting events or at last week we had One Act, so
Right.
our arts, our activities, you know, speech, debate, robotics. Our teams are doing so well. And it's not just the high school, it's our Knights Academy kids reading to kids, our littles down in the basement. Well, they're not in the basement, but the bottom floor. You know, it's our elementary kids. Today, our Fieldstone kids went to Ingle House and brought Valentine's bags to kids.
Oh.
You know,
awesome.
our middle school East kids are gearing up they're having a family night. They did a bonfires outside. We had all the families come in. I'm a little worried about the fire marshal, but we checked it out. But, you know, we have a family trivia night. So there's 3 or 4 books that the families can read, and then they can form their own teams. And then they come in just like you're like out with your family at night, and they play trivia at night. So what a great way to, you know, connect with other families, and then also to have kids see their teachers and their parents and principals and all getting, you know, working
All
together.
interacting.
Yeah, it's this district is fun, you know.
It really is.
Our daughter graduated in 2015, and everyone keeps saying, when are you going to retire? Like, when are you going to be gone? Why are you still here? Because I love our kids. It sounds so corny,
Stick around.
but
Come on now.
I know I have 6,700 kids, and it's just delightful. You can never ever be in a bad day or have a bad day in these jobs, because you go into a classroom, even if it's high school, but you see these little faces, and they're innocent, and you know, even if they're making bad choices, they're still innocent, and they're like sponges. They want to learn. They want to do good. It reminds you that there's hope in the world.
Yeah.
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 I think it's, you know, you and I probably agree 100% that it's the best part of the job, being in the school building, seeing the creative ways that they're learning. You know, anybody who thinks it's just a teacher up at the front of the classroom lecturing anymore, it's so not. There's so many cool things going on in the school. So encourage everybody out there to get involved in one of those 19 teams. I won't call it committees either. We'll call it one of those 19 teams. Get on board, man, because it's a great district. It's a great place to be. Schools have always been at the center of STMA and what we do.
Yeah.
In our partnership, you know, we don't want to leave out the Catholic school either. They do a fantastic job, and we'll probably have them on one of these days, hint, hint. But you know, just a great school community, and it really always has been, going as far back as, you know, the 1950s when public schools really got established here. So, well, thanks so much. Say hi.
Thanks for having me.
Say hi to your hubby. I'm sure he misses the ice a little bit right around this time of year.
He does.
When sections are rearing up and it gets really fun. And say hi to your daughter, who's in, you said sunny Arizona?
Scottsdale right now. She
Yeah,
works
she's-
remotely, so she flits around like a feather. So.
She's got it right, man. She knows what's up. I mean,
Yeah, she has a good life.
there you go. So, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. We'll
Thank
let you get going.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Hey, NWCT fans, you know it is tax season, but when isn't it? If you think about it, I'm going to start that over. You know what, NWCT fans, it's tax season, but when isn't it? If you think about it, especially if you're a small business owner. And we've got hundreds of those around North Wright County today area. So if you are a small business owner here like Sam, or you know, big banker like Nick, you got to check those taxes throughout the year. And who better to work with?
It's your new title now.
Yeah.
Than Peggy Shum. Peggy Shum has been doing taxes here for many years. She's done North Wright County today's taxes for the last decade. And we're very proud to do business with a local accountant like Peggy and her team. You want personal advice? You got it. You want drop off and not to think about it? Peggy and her team can do that too. Located in St. Michael, Peggy Shum CPA is prepping 2024 taxes now for 2025. Get it done by someone who's local, involved, a lifelong STMA resident, and knows how to get it done. For more, visit cpapss.com. That's cpapss.com. Or call her up at 763-497-7817. That's Peggy Shum. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Nick.
Yeah.
The big bankers over here try to load. No, it's not loading.
Awesome. So that was a cool conversation. You know,
That was cool.
I don't know how superintendents do it.
No, I think they
talk
get
about
the butt of everything.
Yeah, and it's like the quarterback,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah.
get all the glory and you get all the blame.
Yeah.
I think the average life cycle of a superintendent in the state of Minnesota now is 5 to 6 years. So we have been very blessed.
It's got to be a tough job.
It is, yeah. Just anytime you're leading an organization of that size, it's just so difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with so many aspects. You have your children, your families, and then you're dealing with the government portion and the funding. Like, it can't be easy.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a 2-hour show on just state funding alone, and some of the circles and racetrack things you have to do to get what you need for as a district. I know legislators work hard at what they do too. They're down there trying to do what's best for the state, for their residents, for the people in their district, and for the state. But there's definitely a time where you have to look at something and say, I'm getting on my soapbox here, but look at something and say, maybe this needs a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting there with school funding. And you hear noise that could happen. So I think that would be a much needed change.
I think my only advice is that people need to be, I think they're so easy to attack, right? Without doing research. Like, do your due diligence. Go look at the funding. When he states, I gave $2.2 billion for education, well, what did it go to?
Right.
Let's go look at that, and then we can, analyze.
Yeah, or better yet, be part of the process.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well.
On to fun things.
What?
On to fun things.
On
No
to
more
fun
budget
things.
talk.
One of the cool things coming up, and you guys talk amongst yourselves. No, I'm just kidding.
What? Now he's kicking us off the show. All right, Mike.
No, STMA girls basketball has a huge event coming up.
They do.
And I do want to talk about that for a minute. They've got their cancer awareness game, which they do every year. A lot of times it's with Buffalo. This year we're doing it with, gosh dang, this little...
He's breaking things.
This desk is going to... It's great. Anyway, this is important, so let's focus, guys. Cancer Awareness Night, Team Chuck. This is for Chuck Scherber.
Yeah.
11 years, STMA resident. Excuse me. He was diagnosed with brain cancer recently, and really a tight family around this Rogers St. Michael area, the Scherbers. You got Scherbers, you got Sharbers. This is Chuck Scherber. And if you pop out there, they're playing Hopkins. I
believe it's the 18th.
I'm going to look at the date for the game, but I believe you're right.
Oh, is it?
18th.
They're doing a fundraiser this weekend, right?
So the cancer game against Hopkins is the 18th.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Hopkins, obviously, outstanding girls program and boys program. So late conference rival. I tell you what, our team is slipping a little bit lately. They've lost the last 6 of 8, but again, a lot of that is, as we talked about last week, really good competition coming in. Providence Academy, they've had Minnetonka, who's right up there top of the state. Wayzata, again, late conference. But I tell you what, this is a fun night. There's lots of giveaways, there's raffles, and outstanding basketball.
Yeah,
So,
definitely the business end of the season. I think when you play in the late conference, I can't remember when the last time the 4A champion was not a late conference team.
Right.
So I think, kudos to the girls for how well they've played so far. Hoping they get hot at the right time of year now.
We're going to stick with the ladies, St. Michael-Albertville girls wrestling. Now, girls wrestling's state sanctioned, I believe, the last 3 years.
Yep.
And we're sending 4 to state, which is cool. So last weekend we had Claire Cavant, Ava Schultz, Emma Antoni, and Avery Heron found their way through the section tournament and made it to state. State girls tournament will be this weekend. And then the boys, who are obviously still the #1 team in the state, in the largest class, have their section team tournament this weekend.
Yeah, I think they kick off about 5 o'clock Friday night on Valentine's Day. First opponent, Robbinsdale Armstrong at Park Center High School.
Yeah, the The big one is always STMA and Wayzata on that one. That's, you don't want to push both of those two to the finals, but that will probably be the section final this year. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, St. Michael-Albertville's made it something like 20 some years in a row to the state tournament. So there's life, death, taxes, and St. Michael-Albertville wrestling in the state tournament. Those are the things you can count on, right? Another big one, and this one hits close because, like I said, I do have a graduate STMA all-night grad party beer and wine fundraiser.
Yes.
We will see you there from 5 to 7 on February 22nd at St. Michael City Hall.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance, that is a super fun event.
Yeah,
It's super fun.
yeah, it's Tuesday night, kind of a happy hour mode, to it. Lots of local, when I say local, I mean state. We don't have a brewery here in St. Michael, which I'm going to talk to a future guest about, but we'll have some local brews and some wines, and the junior parents and the senior parents team up to make that a good night, and that is at St. Michael City Hall. So they're definitely looking forward to that. You guys have been?
I've been.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good one. I don't know if you guys saw, it went kind of mini viral, a video of a cage of cats dropped off at Crossroads Animal Shelter in Buffalo on one of these recent nights.
That's
I didn't see
sad.
that.
Oh, it was super sad. So, fortunately, they were dropped off in the morning, and somebody arrived at the shelter and found them, brought them in, things like that. I just was thinking, very lucky, not only for those kitties, but for us to have an animal shelter close by. Crossroads does a great job as far as taking care of the pets that they do have on site, promoting them. Check out their website. They do have an intake fee, but man, if you've got cats or dogs that you are just like, I can't, I didn't know this was gonna happen, Fluffy had a litter, don't drop them off outside, take them to the shelter. There is a nominal fee to drop off, but they have ways to help you with that. I was literally moved by that. Like, here's this little crate of cats, and I'm not a cat guy, I'm a dog guy, but here they are just kind of outside in this freezing weather, and fortunately they were lucky enough to get picked up. So.
Both of my puppies are rescues, so they make great pets.
They do.
They're
They're
the
always
sweetest thing.
grateful.
They are grateful. They lay in my bed, under my covers, on my pillow. They're spoiled. They're ridiculous.
All right. Couple more events. FYCC Bingo, which is always the favorite one of families. Again, Albertville City Hall this time. So not again, Albertville City Hall. And that is a week from today. That's on the 20th. So that'll be cool. And then I tell you what else do we have? We've got Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, the day of love.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
It's a great day.
Has Mrs. Pfeiffer forgotten a couple times?
No,
or-
he's great. Just, I'm not a Valentine's Day. It's so over the top and just,
It's a Hallmark.
it's a Hallmark holiday.
You're more of a Galentine's gal.
I'd rather be as Valentine's on a random Wednesday. Bring me a gift and some flowers, I'm good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, this event might be for you. I hear that Friday night at BJ's, which is the old G's,
Yep.
Oh,
there's a meat raffle, and that fundraiser is for. I totally forgot to take my notes on this one, but I saw it. Anyway, I was just thinking, for anybody who isn't into, it doesn't matter what they're raising money for, it's a
No.
local cause and it's going to be great.
it's all good.
Oh, you know what it's for? It's my next announcement. I know exactly what it's for. This is a good one. They're raising money for American Legion Baseball.
Oh,
So if you are not into the whole Valentine's Day thing, which Sam is not evidently, hit the meat raffle and raise money, because guess what? And I don't know if you guys knew this. This was announced earlier this winter, but they kind of have started plugging it.
Yep.
St. Michael is hosting the Minnesota Legion State Tournament, July 31st through August 5th. That is going
that's
to
cool.
be
That's huge.
That's huge.
awesome. That is going to be so cool. So yeah, they won the state tournament 2022 and 2023. I don't think that has anything to do with getting to host it, but they performed well there. And it's usually, I believe it's 8 teams that come for the senior level. They've got a senior
That's
level,
cool.
junior level. We'll have the senior level tournament. 8 teams. I'm, assuming they'll split some of the games between the new field over at the high school, and then of course down at the lower rec they have the
Yeah.
fantastic stadium nestled right by the river there, with the trees in the back. You hit a ball 400 feet, you probably got to go find it
Yeah.
in the woods.
There's a brand new scoreboard down there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how you know that.
I don't know.
They got to change your logo on there, I bet.
No, and actually we got the right logo on there.
You got the right logo on there, right?
Matter of fact,
He's in the end.
You guys are way ahead of the game, literally. Because, man, it's been cold. Nobody's playing baseball around here for a while.
yeah.
Whew.
It's cold.
Anyway, that meat raffle is from 6 to 7 on Friday, Valentine's Day. So, raise
And this
your-
time of year, you can leave it in your car and it'll
Yeah.
be just fine. And there's a gross story behind that. That's for another
throw
day.
it in the snowbank. We're good.
And bacon has been one of the great loves of my life. So it's appropriate.
I assume it's either center cut or Damer's bacon at a meat raffle.
Yeah.
Because those are our local supporters. And if you've had Damer's bacon, it is
Right. None of that turkey bacon.
Top 5 in the state, I think.
Yeah.
You gotta,
The Andes State Fair bacon actually won grand champion.
there you go.
There you go.
There's a contest on bacon. Of course there is.
It's Minnesota State Fair.
Yeah. Who knew?
Hey, we are going to kick it over to Sam from the Selfie Company to talk about your event you got coming up.
Oh, yes, Galentine's. Forget Valentine's. We're doing Galentine's. So Saturday, 3 to 7, we're having a huge thing here. Bring your moms, bring your daughters, bring your besties, whoever. We're having a girl that does permanent jewelry. We have hair tinsel, mimosas, a little bubbly. Be a good time.
That'll be
Yeah.
awesome. Again, I think you have different spectrums, right? You've got meat raffle,
Yep.
you've got Galentine's, and then you have the more traditional thing, which is probably the center lane.
Yeah.
Are you a Valentine's Day guy?
This year's going to be kind of
Valentine's?
interesting. We are traveling to Phoenix for a soccer tournament, so I'm going to get my wife a Valentine's margarita, probably.
That's married life with children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's moms, dads.
And that's okay.
I mean, I don't think Father's Day or Mother's Day has been
No.
normal for the last,
No.
I don't know how many years since people got into travel sports and
Yeah.
Yeah. We have
and other
dance recital all
activities that our
day.
kids are in. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to find a way to make it work around
Right.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even with it on a Friday night, you get done with work on a Friday, and the last thing that I'm in the mood for is let's go out. So we're doing everything Saturday.
With
Yeah.
500 other people with the
Right.
same idea. Yeah. Yeah.
And 90% of your favorite restaurants have a set menu for that
Yeah.
night.
And they're
Yes.
packed.
Totally
You can't have
understand.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're doing the Saturday thing, which we are just fine with. So that's
Yeah.
you just make it work, right?
Yeah.
Deerwood Bank is
Yeah.
another one of our sponsors, and Nick, I'm going to let you talk about what's shaking over at the bank.
Yeah, so we had a great fourth quarter, grew quite a bit with the acquisition of Deerwood. And then, beyond that, we're looking to carry that success into 2025 with the help of our 5-star best regional bank rating.
Man, that is like the Super Bowl of regional bank ratings.
It
You
is.
guys nailed it.
Somebody had to come into first place. So,
Oh, it's just a big banker. Yeah.
Deerwood Bank is located on Highway 241, right off Melby down there. That's the bank building that you know and love in St. Michael. We are proud to be sponsored by Deerwood Bank. They have been with us since the beginning. Doesn't matter if they changed their name. We have not changed ours, and Nick has not changed his support for what we do.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. The Selfie Company, we let you talk about your event. They are another one of our sponsors here because they host us every week.
Beautiful space.
Right here in this beautiful space. We are produced remotely today by Ryan, and what's the name of Ryan's company again?
Ryan.
Studio
He's going to
Designs.
shoot me. Yes.
There you go. And
Yes.
I'll pop his logo up there. Man, if you are looking to do a podcast or to do something where you need, producer help, Ryan's a good dude. So we will get you his.
He is a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I tell you what, with prom around the corner, talk to Sam. She has lots of stuff set up for you to bring your fashionable formal wear right here to Selfie and take photos either in the bathtub or on the friend set.
The ducky
or-
tub is a fan favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
We've done style shoots.
man, we are like literally, 4 or 5 weeks from prom?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Prom. Prom's amazing. We'll actually be at prom with our 306 rentable.
Right.
And our line is as long as prom
I
goes.
tell you what, it's a favorite. Like,
It is a fan favorite.
again, going back to like the Super Bowl or NCAA tournament, if you guys watch those, they get the players in the middle and
Yeah.
they do the swooping shot around them. Sam's got that.
I do got that. And the kids love it. One year I'm like, babe, we need to have like a 15-minute like timeout for us. He's like, no, we'll be fine. No. We stood there for 4 hours recording these kids. I love them, but mama's gotta pee sometimes.
I can tell you firsthand, it is a ton of fun. There was a Friday Night Lights event at the Effectus Gym.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Myself and 3 others, we dressed up like our favorite pro wrestlers from the 80s. I was
I'm pretty
Roddy
sure I have
Piper.
that video we can pop on here.
It was epic.
We should throw that into the show.
We need to throw that. I'll find it.
All right. Well, I tell you what, today went fast because Anne Marie was so damn good.
She's just
yeah.
efficient.
Yeah. So we really appreciate Dr. Foucault coming in here. That's kind of what we hope the podcast can be. We do not have any guests next week, so we will have to talk amongst ourselves.
Oh no.
But I think we can do that. Nick will be fresh back from Arizona, so we can all make fun
Talk about the warm weather.
of his tan, because when you're at a soccer game, you don't get a normal tan.
Yeah, it'll be more of a burn, I'm sure.
It all depends on what sideline you're on. Like one side of your body gets just fried, and the other side gets nothing. But I tell you what, we appreciate the support we've gotten so far. I thought today was very interesting, and that's what we hope to do with the program going forward. So if you got events that you want us to highlight, just tweet me at Shomes on X, SCHOEMZ, or hit me up, via email. That's nwctnews@gmail.com. And if you're listening to this, it'll be in the video, so go check out the video. We'll put links to how you can get your ideas. You want to be a guest on the show, you've got a business, something like that, you want to feature, we'd love to have you. I tell you what, we're booked out till like almost April, guys. We've got
That's awesome.
lots of fun people coming. We've got Steve Bott from the city of St. Michael who's going to come join us. Ashley Darkenwald, who's been a mover and a shaker in our world with Infit, which she just recently sold. So we want to talk about what she's doing now. Ashley and Casey are doing awesome things. And then we're going to talk to Josh and Emily Ligon, who opened the food shelf not far from here, right here in St. Michael. So lots of things happening in our community, and we're looking forward to covering them and talking to the people who are making things happen. So I'm even looking way ahead to June and thinking about Leroy Burning and the Albertville Lions and the job they do to pull off Albertville Friendly City Days every year, which is just fantastic. So we're going to talk to them. And we're super excited to keep this thing rolling.
Cool. Anything else, Nick?
No,
Big
I'm
banker?
good.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.